Today we're going to talk about a powerful price action setup, a step-by-step guide on exactly how you can spot this setup right away and start making money. Before we jump into a couple of examples of this setup, I want to share with you really quickly about a concept that you've got to understand, okay, because we are going to be looking for this setup at supply and demand areas. So you need to understand supply and demand. You know, I do quite a bit of videos on this channel about supply and demand. I've learned from some of the best people in the world, I think, when it comes to supply and demand. But really quickly, supply. All I want you to think about right now is aggressive selling. Aggressive selling. And then demand as aggressive buying. I'm not going to go into super detail in this video about that. Go check out some of my other videos. When you get, in my example, is if you get 2 big candles in a row or 3 candles, you know, 2 of them pretty big, 1 of them small, but 4 definitely, then that represents aggressive selling. You can visually see these areas on the charts, and I want you to think of these as institutional footprints. If you know what the institution is doing, and then you wait for this signal or this setup to happen at that level, boom, it's going to really make a difference in your trading. So demand, aggressive buying, 4, okay? So 4 big candles. The setup is the engulf bar. Now, you've probably heard of the engulfing candle, but this is the engulf bar. One of the things about an engulfing candle is when you have a candle and the other candle engulfs the entire candle, it's an engulfing candle. But this is the engulf bar. And again, we're going to tie it in to supply and demand. So stick with me for a minute. So you've got this bar right here. This bar's red. And then let's say you get this bar right here. Now this bar doesn't even have to be green. All you're doing is you're looking at the wicks. As long as this wick is above this wick and this wick is below this wick, it engulfs it, and this is an engulfing bar. So this is the engulfing bar. And don't worry, we're going to show you examples if you're new, but here's another one right here. So you got a green candle, but look at this. This wick completely engulfs that. Now, again, it's very important when you see this. It needs to occur in supply and demand areas. But I just wanted to kind of share with you really quickly the actual picture. And again, it doesn't matter how big the body. So this body doesn't have to engulf this body. This is just an engulf bar. This is the MES. This is the micro S&P 500. But let me show you really quickly on this example. So you see these 4, and this is the 5-minute chart. But this is for any time frame. But I like to trade the 5-minute chart. So we're going to zone in on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Visually right there, you can see we got 4 candles in a row. That is aggressive selling, and that represents a supply area. So what I did was I drawed my zone, because what we're looking for is price to come back into the supply zone and give us this signal. Now, I see all sorts of signals on here. I see a pin bar. We're not going to talk about a pin bar. I see a fake out where traders got in short, and then it went up and stopped him out. But what we're going to focus on is this candle right here. I shaded it. Now you can see how the wick, here's the wick, it completely engulfs. So when you see these supply areas and price coming into this, now again, it doesn't have to, you know, pop right into the area and produce this candle. This went down a little bit, and then you got this engulfing bar. And that is a clue. Entry, you would do a sell stop order below the low to take advantage of that. But all you got to know is look at this engulfing candle at a supply area with the trend. Now, let me show you another example. This one I'm going to show you a visual right here. So, engulfing bar at supply. Again, now the one I'm going to show you today in the live trade is the engulfing bar at demand. So you got to make sure you know what supply and demand is. But take a look at this. This right here aggressive selling. Aggressive selling. Now, this is support, but if you draw your zones like I draw my zones, and again, I got a lot of videos on that. This is my supply zone. But again, look at the difference. Red candle, red candle, red candle, red candle, 2 candles, 1, and then bam. That's representing the institutions coming in. That's their footprint. So we want price to pull back into that zone or around the zone. So look at this engulfing candle. Boom, high and low completely engulfed the previous candle. Okay, but again, it's the bars, the wicks. The wicks need to engulf. That's why it's an engulfing bar. You need to know what supply and demand is, how to recognize it on a chart. Supply, hook back up, there's the candle. Boom, boom, sell stop order, bam. You know, you can probably do your area, something like that. It doesn't have to, you know, be to the precise, but look, we got aggressive buying. I usually take the consolidation around this area, and again, I got videos on how to draw it. Just go back and watch them. But this is a zone or an area. So I was looking for price to pull back, just like I showed you a minute ago, into this area. Now, let's go ahead and zoom in because this is where I actually took that trade. Let me get rid of that. So it was pulling back into the demand area, and we saw that because it was aggressive buying. And then look, we slapped this engulfing bar. You see how this wick is above this wick and this wick is below, so it completely engulfed. So the entry, the way I like to do it is, when I saw this candle and we were in class talking, it had sold off. I like to get in as soon as it trades above the high of the bar that engulfs. So all we did was recognize a demand zone. We wanted price to pull back, and we were waiting for, now I have other price action signals that I teach, but this engulf bar is one of them. And when I see this engulf bar at a demand zone or supply, you know, depending on the trend, I go at it. If you'd like to learn more about trading options, I encourage you to check out my Options Elite Masterclass and all the bonuses that I'm giving away this month, like my TTM Squeeze course for free, plus that Forecast Pro indicator. I'm giving that away free this month to anybody who gets my Options Elite Masterclass. So check down below in the description if that interests you. Now, if you like the TTM Squeeze Pro indicator,